and good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, it's a massive development that's just happened a few minutes ago, and the central government has decided to bring about massive changes to the vaccine policy, in a sense saying it is now open for all. Of course, a lot of these decisions will be now dependent on the states and the vaccine manufacturers and the supply of the vaccines and the pricing of the vaccine. But at the end of the day, one thing is clear: the entire vaccination drive of India has now been decentralized amidst the massive rise in COVID cases and the second wave that's hitting us across the country. There have been calls for the government to loosen up on the vaccination policy, to bring about more decentralization and effectively ensure that people who need the vaccine more in the worst hit parts of the country are allowed to get those. So let me just quickly take you through the headlines as we go across to Ayushman for more details. Essentially, central government says it is now open for everybody above the age of 18, of course, effective May 1st, not right away. They also say that the states and private hospitals and private establishments can now directly procure from vaccine manufacturers. So the vaccine manufacturers like Bharat Biotech or Serum Institute or others like Sputnik who've gotten their approval can now supply 50% of their doses directly to this, guys. 50% goes to the central government. Ayushman joins me with the breakup of all of these announcements. Ayushman, the key headline, of course, is decentralization, empowering states and even the private establishments to now go ahead as they would want.
Now, Tanvi, if you closely look at the announcement, in that center has clearly said that manufacturers would transparently make an advance declaration of the prices for the 50% supply that would be available to the state government and in the open market before 1st of May. So there will be a difference of price which the center will be procuring, and at the same time the states will be procuring. So the state's price will be openly made. The manufacturers will clearly give it out in open as to what will be the price, and then states have to negotiate, not just on the companies. They can negotiate on price. They can also choose to go with which vaccine they want to go. Age criteria is also, the center has said, above 18. They can choose to decide as to which category they want to give. Of course, it will be their priority, Tanvi. But the big point that you raised, the decentralization which was most sought, we all were asking as to when the center will be doing that. That has been finally done. 1st May is the date from when India will opening up its vaccination for everyone above 18 years of age, I beg your pardon. And the states have been given the power. But important aspect here is, Tanvi, the center has said that from their stock of 50%, they will also be allocating states on 3 criteria. First is the infection rate. If the state has got a bigger infection rate, it will be given the vaccine. Also, from center's stock, you will get the vaccine if your COVID management is better and if you waste less vaccine doses. We have seen the states like northeastern states and Kerala, they have witnessed a zero wastage policy. So in the future, when the states perform well, they will also be getting their stock and the chunk from the center as well.
Okay, let's talk about what the center is going to continue doing, Ayushman, because 50% of the vaccine doses, currently we are making about 6.5 crore in our country. We are hoping that by June this will reach about 12 crore in all between Serum and Bharat Biotech and maybe a few others. But in current scheme of things, what is the center going to focus on? They will have to give it to the existing people who've gotten their first dose. Will they also continue to give some to the states who can then give it to private hospitals? What is center's focus going to be and role going to be?
Well, Tanvi, in the coming time, that clarity would definitely be coming from what we have known so far. It definitely looks like that the center will also have the 50%, but the states where the situation would be worsening, like we are seeing in the second surge, and also the states which will be performing well, the center's chunk will also be going. An important aspect which has been mentioned here by the center is that the second dose, which is still pending, will also be given to people, they will be prioritized. Now, what will be the pricing content is still not known, Tanvi. What will be center doing of the 50% stock that it has? Where will it be administered? That is something that the clarity is still awaited. But for now, what we are getting with the overall picture is that the center will definitely be assisting the states where the infection is less and those states which are performing well, and also where the wastage is less. The center stock will also be distributed in those states as well.
Okay, I just want to highlight a couple of points. Like Ayushman was saying, what center's policy going forward will be, we have to see. But the notification does say that all vaccination through the government of India will continue for, and free of cost at the government vaccination centers, will continue for healthcare workers, frontline workers, and all people above the age of 45. So those who are currently eligible, for all of them at the government centers, central government centers, it will continue free of cost. The statement also goes on to say that the division of vaccine supply, 50% to the government of India and 50% to anybody else except the government of India, would be applicable uniformly across all vaccines manufactured in the country. However, government of India will allow the imported fully ready to use vaccines to be entirely utilized in the other than government channels. So those which are, we can also now look at that aspect of importing fully ready to use vaccines as well that can be utilized by the state governments or the private. So that's actually also a very big thing that has been decided. Ayushman, thanks so much for joining us. Let's bring in our experts to help us understand this better. Dr. Rakesh Prabhu, Chief Medical Officer for Medicover Group of Hospital, joins us. Dr. Anup Amarnath, Chairman for the Geriatric Medicine, Manipal Hospitals, member of the Karnataka COVID Task Force. JVR Prasada Rao, former Union Health Secretary with the Government of India, joins us. Dr. Virender Singh Chauhan, Emeritus Professor at the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotech, and Dr. Sunila Garg, Professor of Excellence for Community Medicine at Maulana Azad. She's also a member of the Lancet Commission in COVID India Task Force. Good evening to all of you. If I can actually first up go across to Dr. Sunila Garg to try and understand, Dr. Garg, how do we envision this going forward? Starting May 1st, what should people of India expect?
Number one, Tanvi, thank you for having me on the show. And number two is that it is very, very important to, welcome this. This move is a real welcome move, because you see, when we had started planning about, in late December, we had calculated 80 crore people. That means 160 crore doses, and from for individuals who are 18 years and above. But then we had to prioritize, basically keeping in view the mortality and also the severity of infection. That's how we went ahead with the healthcare workers, frontline workers, and then people who were comorbids and all that, and people above 60, and then 45 and above with comorbids. But last few days, we also saw that many people, who were comorbids, like the ones who were on dialysis, or the ones who were on organ transplants, or the ones, who were cases of malignancy and all, like that, there were many conditions, they were wanting to have the vaccine. So, and also we realized simultaneously that we have got, 18 years and above who is now succumbing to the infection. But having fulfilled the initial responsibility of people, who are, fulfilled means we have already immunized about 12 crore individuals. So it's a move where we can now, go forward, and automatically the people who are, less than 45 also and who are comorbids now can go forward and get the vaccine, apart from people who are 18 years and above. But my request to those will be that please take your elders if they are not immunized within the setup. The second part is that you see 50% of the vaccine goes to the state, so it gives the state autonomy. But important part is that we have to do the right calculations, and we do not have to waste the vaccine. So that is where the accountability of the accountability of the states has increased, because all states are not the same. So that's where we need to look at that the states do not waste the vaccine. The second part is that they will do work on the right calculations, and then, accordingly it will be mobilized. So once, the whole process is decentralized, including the private sector, the vaccine will reach fast to the last mile. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to read one paragraph from this announcement, which says manufacturers would transparently make an advance declaration of the price before May 1st. This is for, of course, the 50% non-central government category. Based on this, state governments, private hospitals, industrial establishments would be able to procure vaccine doses from the manufacturers. Private hospitals would have to procure their supplies of COVID vaccine exclusively from the 50% supply earmarked for them, other than the one for Government of India channel. Dr. Amarnath, does this mean that the 50% that the central government gets will now only be restricted to the government centers, and all private hospitals will have to directly figure out their dosage and their stock from the manufacturers?
No, I think it's, we need to look into the details of what this government guidelines are before we comment on that. But I think the most important thing here is, I remember a few weeks before on the same show we had discussed about what does it take to increase vaccination uptake. And we clearly had mentioned 3 points. One is access, second one is choice, and the third one was data. So we have data in terms of efficacy and safety data, but what we didn't have was access and choice. And now what we're moving is to what we clearly define as a universal adult immunization program. So you have access now, and then you also have choice whether you want to get it done in the government setup, whether you want to get it done in the private setup. Of course, the costings is going to be different. But I think the two big components which we discussed earlier on, how to improve access and how to improve choice, this kind of ruling, this kind of option is there with us now, and this is clearly going to improve the vaccination uptake across the country.
Okay, now I am trying to, understand how it happens the way forward. For example, Dr. Rakesh Prabhu, if you would like to come in on this, of course, a detailed understanding and maybe, a lot of Q&A with the center and clarity would be needed. But now that we've decentralized the process, should one assume that each of our states will get to decide on who's eligible, what is the age criteria, and where you got it for which price? Or will there be a separate central government center, a separate state government center, and a separate private center?
Good evening, all. First, we should have a standardized distribution for the vaccines. Like, if you look at the numbers, from comparing to the government versus the corporate, the corporate numbers are way high than the government's. So we should look at the states where the numbers of COVID are high, because from the day one we are talking about the coverage of vaccine to reduce the numbers of this COVID. We are seeing the alarming rise in the numbers of COVID recently. So we should think about which states are doing high in these numbers, like which states are doing high in the numbers of infection. So we should cover those states first, and we can like that we can address the supply chain issues where we are facing lately in the vaccination drive.
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, that's what we've been saying, that we should have in fact done this much earlier to focus on the worst hit parts, the worst hit states, or even go one step lower and say districts and target those districts. But now I guess now that it's been decentralized, all the states who've been complaining about not getting enough vaccines can figure it out for themselves and use the vaccines in a way that they deem fit for their states and cities and districts. Dr. Virendra Singh Chauhan, to your mind, biggest takeaway from what's come through, how do we read the announcement that's been made on foreign ready-to-use vaccines that can be imported, and that is also something that individual states or hospitals can look at?
So, Tanvi, I'm having a slight problem in your audio, but am I clear? Can you hear me clearly, Tanvi?
Yes, you are absolutely loud and clear.
Okay, so there are several issues here. First of all, this information has just come out. First of all, as everybody has been saying, it's a very welcome information. A reason for me as a scientist is that I look at the country as a whole. I'm not really, looking at state versus. Of course, there are some states that have more infection than the other, and I think At that level, one can look at state-wise, but I look at the country as a whole. What we urgently need, and therefore this is a welcome step, is to reduce infection all over the country as much as possible. And I say that because more in rate of infection, more is the virus likely to mutate. And therefore, more of it may be, giving rise to escape mutants and so on. So it's a very welcome step. Point number two, we are imagining now, sir, if we open it as we have, and as I agree, from 18 to 45, this is a huge number of people who will be eligible. I would imagine, just because we opened for 45 on the 1st of April, we've done almost about 20 days. And let's imagine let's assume that those who wish to get vaccine and could access them in 67,000 centers would have gone and taken. So this is the right time to open up. I understand that many people in the age group which was allowed to be vaccinated have not taken vaccine, and there has been some certain amount of little wastage. Some centers have the vaccine, some centers don't have vaccine, some centers have accepted. So this decentralization would address that question largely, I hope so, but I would hesitate to say this will work out this way, this will work out that way. States will have to start open their machinery. The common portal should be able to take in all the new centers that will be opened, and the states will have to come on board on that. I know that can happen, given digital technology can happen tomorrow. But if there are glitches, I think the glitches will need to be set up. The supply from the supplier is something which I've been, tossing in my head. If we produce about 16 million doses in a month, and if all states, let's say your and my state, are heavily in need of vaccines, so suppose you and I make a heavy demand on both the producers. Will the demands will be met or not? What will be the procedure? If you're saying the 50%, if we are saying if the 50% will be taken by the government, that leaves you about 30 million doses per month. Sputnik will, 10 million can be imported, but Sputnik production will still take some time. If you go to international market to suddenly buy vaccines which are doing very well, I don't think it's that easy, straightforward. Especially Moderna and Pfizer. They don't travel very well. They need to be stored. All that need to be very carefully examined. But great news, I think. And the vaccine, we've not addressed the question of vaccine hesitancy. I personally feel people, and somebody said we will have choices for this vaccine. I don't think we should worry about choices right now. We have 2 vaccines. We may have 3 vaccines. Please get vaccinated. All of them are safe. We've been going horse. Of course, when you give it to a very large number of people, we have to be extremely watchful now. If it is done at a state level, state have to gear up for adverse. They have to really mark if there is adverse action, because now we're going to roll out for a very large population. All that need to be considered right now. On the whole, this is great news waiting to happen. It has happened and we are delighted. I am particularly happy that virus would therefore encounter many more people in future, especially at the third wave come, people who would have been vaccinated. And therefore, our system of medical system will not be stressed to the extent people will not need hospitalization, people will not die. And I very much welcome this move. How the details will pan out, I think we'll have to wait for a day or two. When things calm down, we will, I think, able to discuss it much better in a couple of days from now.
Absolutely, but thank you so much for bringing about, some of the points that you raised, because it's extremely important for us to remain realistic and to remain practical. Just like we kept emphasizing, Mr. Chauhan, and you would remember that just to say that vaccination is beginning in January doesn't mean that overnight we will all get vaccinated. And look where we've reached now, April, and we've barely vaccinated a percentage of our population. Similarly, it's very important to highlight that yes, starting 1st of April, while the central government says states are empowered to open it up to everybody above the age of 18, private hospitals can directly get it, industrial establishments can directly get it from the manufacturers. It is important to understand it will also not happen immediately, especially when such a large population becomes eligible. Now, if we look at the supply side, this is what we know. Roughly we are making about 6.5 crore per month. And even if this has to step up via tie-ups with other manufacturers in our country such as Hafkin, which the central government has approved now, even when Sputnik comes into play, and even if they import it initially before they start manufacturing and selling from India, if you factor that in, if you factor in the step up in the capacity that Serum and Bharat Biotech are hoping, Serum is hoping to reach 10 crore by June, Bharat Biotech is hoping to reach 1.2 crore doses per month by June. Even if you factor in the fact that the central government today has said they're going to give 4,500 crores for ramping up the production capacity for Serum and Bharat Biotech, all of this will still, only begin to show us impact post-June. So we still have, 2.5 months, very critical months where we are in the middle of a second wave and the doses available are not very high. That needs to be kept in mind. But Mr. Rao, good evening and thank you for patiently waiting. I wanted to come to you on a larger question of policy. A decentralized way to go forward. Do you think that's a good decision and a timely decision?
I think it is an absolutely good decision and a timely decision. It has not come a day too soon. It should have happened much earlier because, the states have their own special problems. The dynamics of the epidemic is different in different states. So the states should have that, power to decide which are the priority populations which should be vaccinated first. Somehow or the other, they have not been able to do it. For example, for quite some time, many states have been requesting to include school teachers, transport workers, the vegetable vendors, and people who have maximum public contact. They are the ones who are like frontline workers. Frontline workers are not just government workers only. These are the real frontline workers who come into contact with public every day. But somehow or the other, this has not happened in the last 2 months. If they have been vaccinated, probably the way the epidemic is moving today, it wouldn't have moved so fast. Maybe a certain amount of break could have been put on this. Anyway, that's all past. But at least it has happened now. But what I'm looking at now is the real concern is if the attention of the state governments and government of India gets diverted from the immediate problem of saving lives, from the immediate problem of tackling this huge surge that we are now witnessing as a second epidemic, both for prevention as well as for saving lives. That is going to be the most important priority even now, as you said rightly, for the next 2 months. Because even if you start, for argument's sake, from 1st May, by the time these people get the first dose and then the second dose of vaccination, it will be end of June, even early July. So to expect that this will break the chain of transmission automatically, it's not going to happen. So you still have to depend upon your primary prevention, your strict enforcement of the safety norms, the prevention norms, and also providing succor to those people who are thronging to the hospitals, providing oxygen, providing ventilators, providing drugs. I think that should be still the immediate, challenge for the state governments and government of India. If their attention is diverted from that to, looking at the logistics of vaccine distribution, then I'm sorry, I think we're going to get into real trouble. So the states need to earmark a separate division or separate group of people who look at the vaccination part. Definitely, it is an exciting opportunity, exciting possibility. Maybe another 3 months down the line, its impact will be felt. But how do you live for those 3 months? I think that's my immediate concern. I would say that the states and the government of India must put adequate emphasis on the immediate problem and then have a separate group of people within their own ministries or departments to look at this vaccine logistics. It's going to be quite complicated because the details have not yet come. The devil lies in the details, as they say. Once they come, you will know how complicated it is. 50% will be the government of India. 50% will be given to the states, to the hospitals, to everyone. So how two manufacturers right now, we don't know when the Sputnik will come, are going to cope up with 28 to 30 state governments knocking at their doors? And how are they going to manage this? That is going to be the real challenge. I mean, so the next few days will be very interesting. And 10 days from now, when the vaccination starts, is not good enough to start that preparatory process. But I'm just voicing the concern. I'm a practical person. Definitely, there's a lot of excitement. I share the excitement, and I congratulate
Yes.
the government of India. At least finally, they have taken this decision. Thank you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's just say that, decentralization was need of the hour. We are glad it's happened. Of course, the final details need to emerge. But let me also point out one thing. And this ties in with the fact that, okay, you open it up, but do you have the supply? Take a look at the vaccination pace in our country right now. And our research team has put together numbers that shows that if we look at the average number of vaccine doses that were administered between 12 and 18th April, it was about 27,60,000. If you look at the average number of daily vaccine doses that were administered in the preceding week, which is 5th to 11th April, it was 36,31,000. We were clocking 36 lakh, we even reached 40 and 45 lakh doses per day. It's dropped down to an average of just about 27.6 lakh per day in the week gone by. That's a 24% decline in our vaccination pace that's happened just recently. Many of the badly hit states are actually the ones that have seen this bigger decline. So the state of Maharashtra has seen a decline in daily average vaccinations of about 17%. Similarly, Uttar Pradesh, the other badly hit state, saw a decline in daily vaccinations of 8.2%. Chhattisgarh, which is the second worst hit state, has seen the vaccination drive actually slow down to almost half of what it was, a drop of 49.5% in its average daily vaccinations. Now, either people are not stepping out of fear, or the states have had to slow it down because they don't have the enough doses. And if the states don't have the enough doses currently for those eligible, it is going to be very interesting to see how it pans out when we open it up to more people. Dr. Chauhan, you wanted to make a point?
I just, if we get everything together, our supply side is still, as you rightly pointed out, the strange vaccine hesitancy, which enough has been talked about. I think this will be great preparation for, and I stick my neck out, for the third wave, which is imminent. There's no country which have had a much better system than ours, which hasn't had the third wave. So we are in the second wave, which unfortunately is ferocious and really fast spreading. If we get everything in place, let's say next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, large number of people, I think it will be excellent preparation for defeating the virus for the third wave. As I speak with you, Canada, which had cornered more than all countries put together, they've taken more vaccines of Moderna and Pfizer, 9 times the vaccine they needed. Ontario had a huge third wave day before yesterday. Italy has had, so there's no reason it will go. Of course, its second wave will diminish, will go down. We are in it. Hard to predict when it will go down, but they no reason to believe the third wave will not come. And the excellent preparation for third wave will be what decision we've taken just now. Immunize as many people as you can. We still can be infected, but we will certainly not be going to the hospital with severe disease. And I wouldn't worry about the choice of the vaccine. Hopefully, Sputnik production in Hyderabad will begin very soon. And we would have another flush of 30, 40 million doses if Reddy's lab will produce it. And by July, I would say, look, again, I stick my neck out. By July, August, India would produce in many locations very large number of vaccine. Until that time, I'm afraid we just have to bear the way things will pan out. But vaccinating everybody, doing social distancing, figuring out that this is an airborne virus. Therefore, society has a responsibility as much as government has responsibility. I think these factors have to be communicated again and again through your channel and through everybody else, that we also have a responsibility. If there's vaccine hesitancy next door, I think we should be able to figure out how to advise people why it is necessary for everybody to get vaccinated. We need to protect ourselves for the third wave. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think that goes without saying. Often people, assume that just getting your vaccine shot means you're completely immune from getting the infection. And that is not true. And unfortunately, even us, some of our biggest of the leaders, sitting chief ministers seem to be making these kind of comments saying, oh, how are people getting infected after getting their vaccine shot? It just minimizes the damage, doesn't 100% protect you from the infection. So all of the precautions need to continue. But may I ask one more question? And Dr. Sunila Garg, maybe you can come in on this. Many of our viewers right now are asking us, well, what about those who've gotten their first dose and are yet to get their second dose? Will there be any trouble there? Roughly, there would be about 9 crore people who are yet to get their second dose, have got their one dose. I mean, these are just rough math that we are just trying to pull out. Would that be correct? And would the 50% quota that the central government has kept aside be enough to deal with these many people?
Definitely. This is how we have worked on the calculations. The government has looked at that we will be able to immunize nobody who has been left out. So that is one thing. The second thing which I wanted to bring about now, when you were talking about the vaccination part, we must not forget that India has got the strongest immunization program as far as children are concerned. We are giving all children who are 26 million in number about 5 times the doses, and each time they're getting 2 to 3 shots. Those of us who are parents, we all know that. So pediatric lobby also came very strongly, and they said that why each pediatrician is not given 1,000 doses, because they are well versed in dealing with adverse events following immunization, and complementing this is our Ayushman Bharat as well. So I think we need to look at this. And as far as your first question is concerned, we'll be able to deal with this very strongly, and people have a choice now whether they took the first dose from wherever, and if they want to go to the government facilities, all open for them. But if they want to go to their original practitioners, that will be one thing. That means for the children they went for some dose and now they want to go for second dose to them. That will be another thing which will be a very plus point. So I feel that this is we should not worry about this part. And people who have taken first dose, I'm sure this move will make them more kind of proactive to go as early as possible, so that even if we look at 30 lakhs or something like that, we'll be immunizing very fast, the second this thing, because there are some triggers also, and this is actually
in the conversations, Dr. Garg, that the experts would have had with the decision makers and the policy makers, what was the sense when we looked at this option of saying, okay, the vaccine manufacturer will have to announce the price in advance, and then states or industrial establishments or private hospitals can go and procure it at that price. Now, I am sitting here and imagining what Mr. Poonawalla will be thinking right now, the number of orders or demands that he is going to get the minute he puts the price out. Is the decision on who gets it first and how many just left to the vaccine maker? Because obviously there is no further price negotiation if they are the ones who are announcing the price.
I think they were waiting for this part, since the vaccination drive was announced. Basically it was that when it will be open to private sector, because this is from where they can, co-opt for them, and they can make up for the costs that is there which are incurred. Right now we are giving the vaccine at a very, very nominal price, and which is true for Government of India, which I feel that if we have to reach out to masses, we have to look at that how much we can subsidize the vaccine. So now you see people are already paying in private sector for the vaccine which are already being given to children, as I told, in universal immunization program, and they are paying a huge sum. And that's where I look at it from that perspective. So once the government is monitoring, everything will come at the right price. And you see, definitely it will be much more than what we are talking of, 200 rupees right now, because there is going to be the consultant charges and all that. So that is for the private sector. But for the state government also, the little sum is going to go, or quite a bit of sum is going to go to the government facilities as well. So I feel that, there, of course, the prices are going to be, because now it is going to be a separate this thing for the having a dialogue with the private sector. This is one thing which, the people who are in the manufacturing side, they have been telling from the beginning. So you see, and we were also waiting till the vaccination opens to the private sector. So these are few things which we have to keep in mind, and we need to look at that. You see, we are also a signatory to COVAX. We need to take care of that responsibility as well. Plus, we need to look at our own, immunization demands. So we hope that, all this together is, a very important but a challenging move. And so we have to look at how, and we have decentralized the whole thing, which is already a part of our universal immunization program also. And we have got a very strong event platform where we are monitoring these vaccines as well.
Okay, let me ask the two representatives here from the private sector. And Dr. Amarnath, to you first. Would you prefer if state government still played a larger role here in terms of procuring it at a specific price and then passing it on to the private entities? Or would you prefer it if private entities, hospitals, industrial establishments themselves were at a place to negotiate with the vaccine manufacturer and pay the price?
I think with any system, if you have the more the number of touch points, the more the friction and lesser the ease with which the entire supply chain works. So the lesser number of touch points, the more efficacious the entire system is going to be. So I think that's where this liberalization is going to help in order to improve the access to immunization. So I personally feel that the more it is opened up, the more it's liberalized, the more it's a free market economy in terms of vaccination, the more the choice which people will have, the more accessibility. So I think overall speaking, this move is a very welcome move. And I think the lesser the touch points, the better the efficacy and the smoother the rollout of the vaccination program.
Okay, Dr. Prabhu, would you like to comment on this? What is your view?
Yes, it is better to have lesser touch points so that these cold chain issues can be addressed. For example, corporates should be given the accessibility directly to the manufacturers. Like that can reduce the burden on government itself. For example, we should go to the government now for taking the vaccine, and rather than that, we should have the accessibility directly to the manufacturers. And we should also, for example, if you're going for the decentralization, we should also look at the infrastructure capabilities. Like that cold chain should not be compromised, because we should open more number of vaccine centers to cover a whole lot of population now.
Okay, fair enough. Last question to Mr. Rao before I wrap this up. Mr. Rao, of course, the central government will continue with vaccines free of cost, for those above the age of 45 at all of the government centers. Would you foresee individual states also looking at more subsidized rates for the population in those states?
The states also would definitely give it free to the people. Because, most of the states were initially telling the government of India to give it free. So now they cannot go back on that. They have to give it free. I mean, so far as the state government program is concerned, it has to be free. But those who are taking outside through the private sector, of course, they'll be paying for it. But it will be good if the states continue the policy followed by the government of India and give it free to everyone. I think that will definitely help those who are poor and needy to access the public sector services. Otherwise, for them to go and pay vaccine private sector and then get vaccinated, there is going to cost money. I have not said one people, for the whole family if they have to take. So I think the states have to do that.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Completely out of time. But thank you so much to all of the panelists for joining us. Of course, today is just day one. The information, the circular has just come out. There's so many finer details that we're still watching out for. And once we have those, we'll have our experts back to help us understand the way forward. But here are largely the key takeaways I want to leave you with. First up, the central government has taken a great decision of decentralizing the whole process, something that we'd been asking for and discussing for a really long time now, to need to decentralize this process, to empower the states a little bit more. Each state, each different, is going through a very different version of a COVID pandemic right now. And it was really not helping in having a policy where in some parts of our country, nobody is turning up to get a vaccine. In other parts, people are running out of vaccine doses. And the case in point that I gave you was the fact that we are so low on doses and vaccine doses right now that the national weekly numbers show that our daily vaccination average has dropped by 24% in the week gone by versus the previous week. Just in the month of April, week after week, if you compare, there is a drop of 24%. Around the time, remember that the states were saying that there isn't enough vaccine. So maybe now when the states have the option of directly reaching out to the vaccine manufacturers, they will be able to source more. The other caveat though is that the vaccine makers need to have those many doses right now. All of the plans, change in vaccine policies that we've done so far would result in us having many more vaccine options, many more doses available in the market only post the month of June and afterwards. So right now for the month of May, it's going to be very interesting that as we open this up, how much each of the states or private hospitals are able to source from the vaccine makers. The price for the open market will also be decided by the vaccine makers. So it will be much higher, of course, than the 200 that you're paying right now for each dose. That is very clear. Serum Institute has been saying it for many days now that at some point they should be allowed to make some money as well so that they can ramp up their production capacity. So we will wait and see how that pans out. Many more questions. We will keep digging for answers and bringing those to you. Thank you for joining us.